Hey guys, down here in sunny Vegas. Come stand with us. We're at the federal courthouse. Yay, Barb, we're so excited. We'll see you next Monday. We need more people down here today. Court starts a little bit later today, 10:30. We're just out here holding signs and stuff until it's time to go in. Come down even if it's just for a few hours. Good morning, Tammy.
Salt Lake times 2.
I'm live. Do you have anything to say? For you, my family and friends. What about you, Aunt Mark?
Hey, I don't want to be out here by myself today. So come, stand.
Even for a few hours.
Yeah.
Come on down.
Every little bit helps.
There's Doug and Skipper. Andrea. Morning. All right. Hey girls, I'm live. Do you have anything to say?
Well,
Shall not be afraid.
I probably shouldn't because
You might say too much.
Good morning, America. Let's get our men out. They are all innocent.
Yes.
Let's get them out. Let freedom ring again. You're in America.
sure you'll get an update from Andrea in a little bit. Okay, Mama.
Thank you, Andrea and Joe, for lunch today. You fed us all, and it was so yummy, yummy, yummy. We love you guys. We feel your presence here with us today and your love and support.
With the money you gave us last week, we
Yep.
ordered pizza.
Yeah, and Margaret got
everybody
pizza.
pizza. We fed all these people today.
Thank you so much for your donation. I prayed for pizza this morning, and thank you so much.
She prayed for pizza,
I did.
Andrea.
I just want to say, coming down and having something to eat down here, you know, it's huge. We don't have enough time to do everything we need to do and go get something to eat. I live off goldfish most of the time, and we really appreciate the pizza.
So
They're
thanks,
the
Joan
best people
Andrea.
ever. Best people ever. We love you. Love, 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 love. Say hi to Andrea and Joan.
I was going to say, who sent it? Thank you. Say hi to the people that sent the pizza.
Hi,
They donated money.
thank you.
We love. That was really good.
It was good. Say hi to the people that donated
Hello.
money for the pizza.
Thanks a
Joe and
lot.
Andrea.
Thanks a lot. It was good. I'm full now. I'm ready for a nap now.
Yeah. So nice to come down here and have lunch.
Yes,
Right?
thank you.
We don't have to go anywhere. Okay, love you, Joe and Andrea. Thanks again.
Thank you for the pizza.
Thank
Our
you.
bellies are full. Maybe we'll be able to go back in court and hold up.
I'm not, yeah, I was going to say not throw up.
Oh.
Love you guys.
Okay, it's live.
Okay. So, once again, we want to thank, we have a lot of people today. A lot of people down here. The courtroom is almost full on the inside. That's really exciting. We've got a couple groups from pretty far away. We have some from Idaho and some from,
Montana.
no, they're from like Missouri? No, Minnesota. We have a group from Minnesota and some from Idaho. I'm sorry that I said Missouri, Ted. I'm sorry. Okay, so last Thursday we ended the day, after the jury left, we had some arguing over Dan Love and whether he will be able to testify. Now, the prosecution isn't going to call him, and the judge said that the defense was going to have to come up with a good reason for them to call him, that basically they couldn't just call a witness to perjure him. And I know that the prosecution had come to the defense the night before and said, whatever video, whatever it is that you want in, we'll let it in, no questions asked, you know, that you were going to bring in with Dan Love. Just don't call him to the stand. And then the very next day in court, they have to come up with reasons to bring him in. So the defense will have to work on that. I don't know when we will know the answer. So we started today out, it was a late day. We were supposed to start at 10:30, but we probably didn't start till almost 11. Big news, Myri was not in the courtroom, but may join us later. So Myri is not in the courtroom today, and I think that that'll definitely be something. We had Major Jackson on the stand. He was a Nevada Highway Patrol officer. We were in the middle of cross-examining him. It was brought up a couple times about the fact that they were communicating with the crowd as a way to keep the stress levels down. At one point, he was asked by Marchese, you started that you were trying to find water and that his men didn't bring water and they weren't prepared. He was asked if the protesters had given him water, and it was yes. And then it was brought up that the entire environment had caused the fear, not necessarily just one element of the environment. Todd Engel went up and was asked about the trucks. So he mentioned in his direct examination that there were 4 trucks that pulled out of the desert with men in the back of them, and he felt much fear. And this was after everything was done. These men came out from the east, got on the northbound, and went north. And he was asked if he'd ever seen any pictures or videos of these truck and these men. The answer was no, because there's a lot of video. And there was no arrest of these men. He was also brought up that no one arrested the men carrying weapons on the bridge, and he was asked why, if he felt so threatened by these men, they were not arrested. And the officer in court said they have a right to carry firearms. So that was exciting. And then he stated that he needed hundreds of officers to help this end peacefully. And the guy said, well, yeah, if by force, we would have needed 500 more officers. And then he was asked if the event ended peacefully, and he said it did. That no rocks or frozen bottles were thrown at them, no tear gas was used or riot shields, no patrol cars burned, and this is all Ingo, so he did a great job today. Then they called Sergeant Shannon Serena. He is another highway patrol officer. He arrived, they bring up trucks as he's driving down, they're playing his dash cam, they bring up trucks as they're going by, some with the tailgate down and the window up and people sitting back there, they're bringing up all of these things. We're still watching his videos. In one of his videos you see a bunch of people, like it's just the truck sitting there, and then a bunch of people start running and going over. There's people that run and jump over the barrier and go down, and that's pretty much all we're watching. Then they bring out another person's dash cam, and in this dash cam you can see the officer, and in that he says that there's an armed guy that looks at him and comes towards him, and that was threatening. And the person starts talking to him and points down in the wash. Then he states that the guy told him there was a green truck, and it got confusing in the courtroom. It sounded like a green truck of protesters pointing weapons at officers. But then they are trying to point out that it's Todd Engel, and his statement was the green truck is the green truck of the Forest Service and the people that are glassing the protesters. So I'm sure that will come up in cross-examination, but we're still in direct examination of this individual. And we're going back up. It was a short morning before lunch, so we'll have a lot more later. Once again, amazing. We have people from Minnesota, people from Idaho. There is a lot of people down here today. A lot of those people came and actually went upstairs, so that was really nice to see, like all 3 rows almost full. It's the first time it's ever happened up here, so thank everybody from traveling. Like some of these people traveled hours. I know a lot of the Bundy family traveled 2 hours one way to get here, and they do it once a week, almost daily sometimes. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
We'll be back this afternoon, folks.
All right, so when we came back after lunch, Myri is back in the courtroom after lunch. She has joined us. We're still with Sergeant, what is his name? Shannon. And he was asked, you know, we're in the cross-examination, he was asked how many people had their hands on their firearms. They've changed the narrative again today. All right, we got problems?
Yeah.
Do you want me to wait a second?
Yeah, if you could. Sorry.
It's okay. We have a great group of people down here. This is the most people we've had in the courtroom yet. We've got a great group down here as well. Thank everyone so much for coming. We had a person buy us all pizza while we were here for lunch. That was amazing and really appreciated. Like I said, we've got people from Idaho, we've got people from Minnesota, we've got people from all over Nevada. And
Just go ahead and go with it. Mine's not going.
okay.
Oh, there it is. Wait a minute. Come on, baby.
Like now I can hear myself over here.
Connecting.
We're waiting on this guy right here.
Yeah.
Greg was actually doing really well in court. I would say today I saw him looking better than I've seen him look in a while. I don't know if that was maybe because they were talking about him. He was very alert, but he looked decent from what I could see. Are you good to go?
It's not going to get. You might as well go.
So they've changed the narrative. Now they're saying, you know, they were saying a lot of people pointing rifles, and now they're changing the narrative to if the people had their guns slinged over their chests and their hands at somewhere on that, they're now calling that people with firearms in their hands. And so they've kind of changed that up a little bit. This gentleman says that he texted his ex-wife that he loved her because he didn't think that he was going to get out of there. And that it was not typical for people to have their weapons in their hands when officers are around because that makes them officers uncomfortable. He was concerned for his safety the moment he arrived and after he left. So Perez got up there and he said, when you talk to people, they said they wanted to see the cattle free. And you said that from law enforcement standpoint that they had understood the cattle would be set free. And then we was asked, well, how long? And he couldn't really say. He also did say that the cattle were going to be released because of the tensions and to get the BLM out safely. So this gentleman's basic point for being there, he is highway patrol. He was called at 6:30 in the morning and told that they were going to come to this area and they were going to help Department of Transportation set up barriers in between one of the lanes in traffic to get the BLM out of there. That's at 6:30 in the morning. And then later his duties changed to crowd control. So at 6:30 in the morning, the BLM was already planning on leaving that day. And they were already planning on having Highway Patrol and NIDOT come down and put barriers up so that they could not be, had a safe and swift exit from the area. He's got his dash cam video and he goes through a lot of it and he points out trucks and he points out the one truck and he says, well, this guy's on a tailgate with the thing up, and he's like, well, he feels that that gentleman had postured that would be threatening, yeah. And he said, well, what exactly was he doing? And the guy couldn't ever come up with, and he said this many different times about many different people, and he could never really say what about their posture. But the truck was going under 10 miles an hour, and he also brought up the fact that he poked from behind it and the truck pulled over so that the police officer could get by. So how is that feeling threatening when that obviously didn't look like it? This gentleman said that he was afraid of everyone there. Multiple cases he said he was afraid of everyone there. He was afraid of everyone who was not law enforcement. Then he plays the video for, and we've played this video, and this is the second time we're watching the video. Plays it for a very long time, and he calls, there's this one person in the video, it's called Citizen of Nevada is how they refer to him. And he talks about the times he talked to Citizen of Nevada. He pretty much proves with the video that the man sat on the Jersey barrier and his weapon was not on over the barrier like he had said before. He proved that it was slung across his right shoulder and not across the front of his body like he was talking about before. And he proves that it was never pointed over the barrier. He also proves, they brought up that at one point he had something in his hand. He proves it was water. He had taken out of his pocket, drank some water, put it back into his pocket. Jackson gets up there because they did bring up Greg's photo and talked about how Greg was dressed, the fact that he had Minuteman on his hat. And Jackson asked, so when you interviewed my defendant, and the guy said, well, no, I spoke to him, not interviewed, but he said something around 20 minutes. And then they talked about his police scanner. He had a radio that the gentleman said that it was surprising to him, or it made him jealous that he could hear the Metro's radio communications over Greg's radio better than he could hear it over his own radio. And then he was asked, well, is it illegal to have that, which was objected to because it goes to a legal stance. But he said, can you buy it at the store? And he said, yes. And then he was asked if he ever took a picture of that. No, if he followed him down. Leventhal gets on, and he proposes Exhibit 5043, a dash cam video, one of his dash cams that was not entered. In this dash cam, you can see and you can hear audio from his dash cam, and he goes back to the car at one point and gets on the radio and says, everything is peaceful down here, everyone is happy. Then in the video, you see him shaking hands, patting, Nevada Citizen on the back. The armed man walks up to him, he pats him on the back, that's Armed Citizen. He moves on, Tomasi gets up, he talks about the briefing at the substation and the fact that they were going to make that wall and they were going to leave at 6:30 in the morning. They found that out. He met with the U.S. Attorney's Office 3 or 4 times and met with the FBI to prepare his testimony. I thought that line of questioning has been done every time, but I think this time it went a little better than before. He did almost go and sit down before asking those questions, but did continue with them. Then Jess goes up and brings up that he was fearful before he even got to the wash. So everyone's coming in and they're so scared and they're so fearful, but pretty much everyone on the stand has said that they were fearful before they even got to the wash. So it's pretty much stating that you're fearful by the environment and what you've heard about the environment versus by these people. Then he brings up the fact that, would he say that Nevada Citizen was helpful to him? And he said yes. And he said at one point when they had a conversation, the Nevada Citizen said that he was in somebody's crosshairs and that the officer should move back. And then Jess says, well, so you were afraid of this man, but he was helpful to you. Again, he brings up he was afraid of everyone that day. Didn't matter if they had a weapon, just if they were not law enforcement, he was afraid of them. The government goes up and recrosses and brings up points about not enough people to be able to watch Greg when he goes down into the wash. And why he patted Citizen of Nevada was that it was the end of the day and he did it to relieve tension. And that his level of fear did increase when he got to the bridge area. Perez goes back for a recross and plays the video yet again. Like, well, we'll watch this video one more time and stop me when you see someone doing something threatening. You see these mannerisms you keep talking about. And at one point he stops and he says, well, you're not going to see it on the video. It's something that you feel. So he's sitting there telling them, like, we've got video. You can't see anything in the video, but it's there, but it's just not on the video. And he says this through the entire video continually over, well, you can't really see it here, but this is what's going on. And he was giving testimony to the video of what someone's doing over here, when in the video you can see that he had his back turned to that person, and that was objected to on multiple times. Next, the government calls Hugh, I can't Gorgian, his last name. I think, is he French? Does that seem like, so he's French, and he's got a really thick accent, so this is good, it went really slow through there. He was one of the protesters, someone that had come from Sandy, Utah. He took cell phone pictures and then some cell phone video that I believe he said he was taking because he thought he was taking pictures and ended up taking short videos. He took pictures of going down, he caught a ride with someone, went down into the wash, got a picture of the prayer, talked about the children again. One of his videos, he goes up under the abutment of the northbound, not the southbound lane, and he takes videos down there, and you see people down there with him. They start bringing that up, so now it's confusing whether they're talking about the original people were in the southbound lane, but now they're bringing up people under the northbound lane. Not sure about that. He went up there because he feared he was going to be shot. They went right over that. They didn't want to bring that up again. At some point, he went up and down from the wash. He went down into the wash, back up to the road, back down under the abutment, back up to the road. Then he brings in a bunch of pictures and videos. So here's his pictures. It's got Eric prone on the bridge. He's got another picture that's Scott Drexler prone on the bridge. He has pictures with a couple people kneeling down. He said that the FBI came to his home and his work with a subpoena to get his pictures. He then gave them to his attorney, and the attorney then gave them to the government. Then they tried to bring in an email that he got from Carol Bundy talking about the event. There was an objection to that with the whole 501c3 or whatever it is, which means co-conspirator statements. There was an objection that Carol's not a co-conspirator. It was sustained at the moment, and I guess the government plans to prove she is later on and bring in more information from the Bundy website and the emails that were going out. One thing that I failed to mention earlier is they did identify Ricky Loveland. Todd Engel is citizen of Nevada. Ricky Loveland was a guy in fatigues, and Greg Burleson, they just had a picture of him, what he was wearing, and that he talked to this officer. So, yeah, they did mention that he believed Ricky was a superior because he came up and Citizen of Nevada stopped having his conversation with him. Oh, and he made a phone call at one point. So if you're ever at a protest, don't make a phone call, or I guess everyone will think you're the boss. And so, yeah, they're pretty much saying that Ricky was in charge of the people on the bridge, and with no evidence whatsoever. All of he's saying is like, oh, these people in there, the way they were standing and the positioning themselves was in a threatening way, but you can't see it on the video. They cross-examined that guy and pretty much blew him out of the water. I think everything he said, you know, they watched the video 3 times in a row, and nowhere in this video do you see anything that he's talking about. So I think that was pretty good. We're still in direct examination of Hugh, and that will continue tomorrow morning. Like I said, Greg looked good today. I know everyone was asking. He looked alert and awake. Maybe it was because they were talking about him more, but he did look okay, made it through the day all right. Thanks, everybody.
8 o'clock tomorrow?
8 o'clock tomorrow.
8 a.m. tomorrow morning we start. See you at noontime tomorrow.